So we finally got the second entry into the Sockibomb lineup, the Sockibomb Felon. And if the Sockibomb Slammer was any indication of what this is gonna be, this might be a beefcake. So let's talk about it. So if you didn't know, these Sockibomb discs, the Sockibomb branded discs, are kind of like the PM line with Discraft. Like they're Ricky's signature molds. Like he tweaked them to fit his game and what he wants in the disc. So this Sockibomb Felon is not just like a signature edition Felon, it is a brand new mold. And what he did with it is pretty interesting. So from the looks of it, it looks like what Ricky was going for with this was to make the Felon almost more Firebird-like. Now the Felon has always been like a Firebird like replacement type disc, but those like hardcore Firebird throwers, they can tell the difference. Like the normal Felon is a lot more rounded on the edge here, and it doesn't have, like it comes down to like a flat edge here. When the Sockibomb, he changed it to where there's actually a lip under here, and it's a little blockier on the edge here. So that's very similar to a Firebird. I have a Glow Firebird here, and if you look at the bottom of Firebirds, they have like a sharp edge on the bottom of the rim here, and it's a little blockier than most Felons. Hopefully you can hear me through the wind, but now I do think the Firebird has more of an edge on the bottom, like it's a little sharper and more pronounced than the Sockibomb Felon, but it is very similar. Like it feels very, very close to a Firebird now. The biggest difference though that I've found now is the diameter. Like Trilogy and just like a lot of other companies right now are making most of their discs and drivers have a slightly wider diameter, and so the Sockibomb Felon still has that wider diameter than a Firebird. So if you don't like that in discs, then the Firebird's still your baby. But the thing I like about the Sockibomb Felon is that even though, wow, that's a big gust of wind. But the thing I like about the Sockibomb Felon is that even though he tweaked it a little bit to make it more overstable, it still feels like a Felon. Like if you are a Felon thrower and you're used to the feel of Felons, it might be slightly deeper and slightly more bulky, but for the most part, it still feels very much like a Felon. It feels very comfortable in the hand. Unlike the Captain's Raptor. The Captain's Raptor shares the same name as the Raptor, and it has the same purpose of the Felon versus the Sockibomb Felon. But the Captain's Raptor, like if you feel it in the hand, like if you've thrown these before, you know, they don't feel anything like a Raptor in my opinion. Like yes, it's a more overstable Raptor and that's nice, but it almost feels like it has a huge bead on the end of it. It's significantly more bulky in the hands and deeper. It just feels like a completely different disc. When the Sockibomb Felon is a completely different disc, but it feels like a relative of the Felon. Like it still feels like a Felon. So now the flights is where it raises a few questions for me. Now really quick, these are on apollodiscgolf.com. The link will be in the description if you want to check these out. But the flight of this is, I really like this. Now, I don't know if this is because, let's see. I don't know if this is because like this fits my hand really well and I can just release it well, but it just like, it comes out of your hand really fast. Like it feels like it's faster than the normal Felon, which is saying a lot because the normal Felon is very fast. It goes pretty far. And this almost feels like it goes just as far, if not further, but it's still beefier. Like it's still more overstable. Like it flies very close to my Glow Firebird, which like that Glow Firebird, like I don't really even throw the flat top ones, which I have a few flat top ones, because that Glow one is overstable enough to fight like 45, 50 mile per hour winds. Like I've played in those winds with that disc and it's fine. This is just as overstable as that Glow Firebird. It was pretty windy today, and they both did pretty much the same thing. And even with the Captain's Raptor, it is very close to the Captain's Raptor as well. Like it's just a more beefy version. Like it's not like, because the thing that's a little weird, in my opinion, with these is that if you wanted an overstable Felon, you would get the Lucid X or the Hybrid X. So it's like, why would you need a new beefier Felon when we have beefier Felons in those plastics? Well, one, those are limited runs, so they're not readily available. These will probably be readily available, kind of like the Sockibomb Slammers. But the other thing is this still has like a Felon flight in terms of it pushes forward quite a bit. It's still pretty fast, and this just goes further than the Lucid X and Hybrid X while still being very overstable. The Lucid X and Hybrid X I think are a little more overstable than this, but they don't go anywhere, which is good sometimes. Sometimes you want that, but this still goes places and it's still super beefy. So it's just a very nice flight. And the one thing I forgot to mention is the plastic. Like it feels pretty stiff and it's fairly flat. It's cold out right now, so it's even stiffer, but even back home in room temperature, it was still pretty stiff in the hand. It felt really nice. Like I said, these are on apollodiscgolf.com, but the other disc that I think this is very close to and very similar to is Eric Oakley's Spice. But that's, let's talk about that in another one. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.